There are basically two schools of thought when it comes to Ahsoka and Plo Koon. Their beautiful relationship, more of a father-daughter. Even though Anakin was Ahsoka's master, in fact, Plo Koon was much more of a father figure to Ahsoka, similar to how kind of Qui-Gon was to Anakin for that short, brief period of time. I mean, both these protagonists discovered these Force-sensitive children that went on to do great things. But as I mentioned in the beginning, those two schools of thought pertain to, did we get enough of Ahsoka Plo Koon storyline? Some would say yes, we saw them enough in the Clone Wars animated show, and that is kind of true. We got a lot of episodes between Ahsoka and Plo Koon interacting with one another. Some, of course, would say the opposite. Some would say that we didn't get enough. Clone Wars Season 7 didn't really focus on them at all, although it was nearing the epic of the Revenge of the Sith storyline, so I kind of get it. Tales of the Jedi didn't even had them together at all. And it's sad because now with the Ahsoka show coming, Plo Koon did play a really important, integral part in Ahsoka's life. My wish, of course, would be that Ahsoka has a flashback remembering Plo Koon. We would get him in live action for the first time since the prequels. It would be awesome. But if you've seen the heart-wrenching scene when Ahsoka leaves the Jedi Order for good, then there is one truth that Ahsoka never really learned about Plo Koon. By the time Plo Koon really reacted and showed his emotions, Ahsoka was outside. Let's begin from the start, fresh with Ahsoka and Plo Koon. Following the outbreak of the Clone Wars, Master Yoda assigned the young Ahsoka Tano to be the Padawan learner of the Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker. Immediately afterwards, she joined at the Battle of Christophsis. While Ahsoka Tano was eager to prove herself, Anakin Skywalker had a reputation for recklessness, and as a result, they both had a rather difficult start as master and apprentice. However, before she became the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker, and even before the Clone Wars started, how was Ahsoka discovered and who brought her into the Jedi Order? Well, 11 years before the Clone Wars actually began, Ahsoka Tano was discovered by Jedi Master Plo Koon among her people on the planet Sheely. This planet could be found in the expansion region and was the homeworld of the sentient Togruta species, to which both Ahsoka and Master Shaak Ti belonged. Now, as far as the person who discovered her in the first place, what can be said about Master Plo Koon? Considered level-headed and unflappably calm, he was among the wisest members of the Jedi Order. He was deeply concerned with every form of life, and that is why the Jedi Master took Ahsoka at the age of 3 and brought her to Coruscant so that she could be accepted into the Jedi Order. It's the main reason why Plo Koon also had a shared special bond with Ahsoka Tano, as witnessed in the Clone Wars series. As their relationship had a happy beginning, it unfortunately would end in a truly sad way. When Ahsoka Tano was framed for murder and treason, Master Plo Koon found it difficult to believe that the young woman he'd brought into the Jedi Order could have fallen into darkness and have committed such a heinous crime. But the evidence against Tano seemed overwhelming, and he had no choice but to join the Council in expelling her from the Order. After her innocence was proven and the real traitor apprehended, Plo Koon joined his colleagues in apologizing to Ahsoka and inviting her to rejoin the Jedi Order. However, the damage was already done. He was deeply saddened when Ahsoka Tano instead chose to walk away from the only life she'd ever known.
Now, these two characters were mostly brought to life in the Clone Wars series, Ahsoka especially, and while we saw Plo Koon in the prequels briefly, he was basically just a background character. And now that I think about it, what a waste. However, moving on, in the present canon as it is explained to us, it was actually Master Plo Koon who discovered Ahsoka Tano. He was on a mission on the planet Sheely, which was the home world of the Togruta species. Something called to him. Master Plo Koon found a 3-year-old girl named Ahsoka Tano. His connection to her was apparent when he found out that she was actually Force sensitive. Master Plo Koon brought Ahsoka Tano back to the Jedi Temple so that she could be trained as a Jedi. Naturally, this relationship went on to flourish between the two Jedi, as Ahsoka always thought she could count on Master Plo Koon. This relationship was somewhat broken, with the occurring of one tragedy that would go on to split Plo Koon and Ahsoka Tano. Following the Jedi Temple bombing, Plo Koon and the Council decided to recall Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano from the defenses of Cato Nemoidia for the sole purpose of investigating this bombing. At first, Plo Koon was worried that a Jedi was actually responsible for the attack, and he went on to think who best to be around than Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka, defending us from within the temple, executing their investigation. However, when Ahsoka Tano was framed for murder and treason, Plo Koon found it extremely difficult to believe that the girl he'd brought into the Jedi Order could have fallen so much into darkness. Nonetheless, the evidence against Ahsoka Tano seemed overwhelming. Master Plo Koon had basically no choice but to join the Council in expelling her from the Order. After things unfolded as they did, Ahsoka Tano was finally proven to be innocent. In fact, Master Plo Koon was one of the few Jedi that joined his colleagues in apologizing to Ahsoka Tano and inviting her to rejoin the Order. In Master Plo Koon's biographical databank, it shows us that at that moment he was very regretful about his actions and regretful about what decision the Jedi Order had overtaken. He was glad to see Ahsoka back. Things would not go as he expected, however, as Ahsoka Tano, in spite of the invitation to join them, she refused and went on to leave the Jedi Order for good. At that moment, Master Plo Koon was deeply saddened. He realized that things could not be undone. He showed poise even when Obi-Wan wanted to interfere. He touched Kenobi in the shoulder as a sign to tell the Jedi to let go. Of course, this scene always tugs at my heartstrings, but feel free to let me know as well down in the comments. What were your thoughts and how did you feel when Ahsoka Tano actually left the Jedi Order?
Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you can have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you. Until then.